Good morning or good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. This talk is going to be pretty brief. It's in reference to light workers, chosen ones. So I wanted to have this small conversation with those that are going through this journey of being a light worker. I always use myself as an example where I can, and the reason is to give it more authenticity, okay? And as usual, I always disclose I'm right here with you. I'm going through all of this right here with you, okay? So not everyone is going to appreciate the walk that you're having this lifetime around, this journey. Not everyone that you encounter in life is going to be on board with you being a chosen one. Not everyone. Not everyone. Some will take great offense because how dare you think you're special? It's not that we think we're special. It's that God has made us different. The mission that we're on is different than the everyday human who all they have to do is exist, live, eat, sleep, have sex, mate, have children, and that's it. That's the only thing that's required of them. That's it. Live a normal everyday existence. That is it. So not everybody is going to appreciate you. Not everyone will appreciate you. So, in my for instance today, I have 3 children. The middle child and the youngest one knows that they are starseed. They know it. They have a knowing. They were happy. They were okay with it. The good, the bad, and the ugly, like I always say, because remember, it's not easy having spiritual gifts. It's not easy. But they're comfortable. They're comfortable with it. As a matter of fact, and I mean, he would have to tell you himself, but the youngest literally did have a premonition about the pandemic. He actually called it, and I looked at him like, are you psycho? Don't even wish that upon us. But like it's in Spanish, dicho y hecho. No sooner did he say it, I want to say that was 2017? I think that was 2017-ish. That's what he quoted, quote unquote. There's going to be a pandemic. I was like, are you kidding me? But anyway, so they're very, very accustomed to their gifts. They're very, I never hid my gifts. The 2 younger ones always knew to leave me alone when I was growing up, when I needed to be fed, when I needed to be given information. They already knew, don't bother me, because astral travel always came easy to me. And it hurts like hell when people bother you, because you have to come out of that. And when you come out of that, you slam into your body if you come out of it the wrong way. And it hurts. So they knew not to bother me. So they're very, very comfortable with it. They never judged me on it. They never said, Mom, you're crazy. What the hell are you talking about? Oh wow, did you see the orb? We think you're psycho. You need a padded room. They never treated me that way because, again, they were very familiar with their gifts. They were very comfortable with their own gifts. As a matter of fact, the funny thing was my daughter asked me, because we were impoverished due to that they had a deadbeat dad. You know, as a single parent, you're always going to struggle. So my daughter one time asked me, why the hell didn't you do this when we were growing up? And I told her I didn't know I had these gifts, so how could I have done that? So anyway, they're very, very comfortable. They never judged me. My Fraggle Rock hair is acting up today because of the rain. And yeah, they were very happy, you know, being gifted. They were very happy knowing that they were different in that way, spiritually. And they embraced it. My eldest son, he doesn't feel that he's gifted, and I beg to differ, but he can live his life however he wishes. So he doesn't have to, because of free will, he doesn't have to acknowledge it. But I will tell you that it'll make you sick when you don't acknowledge it. It'll make you sick when you don't work it. When you don't do what you're supposed to be doing. I had a pre-cancer scare 5 times. From the age of 20, it was the age of 19. I think it was the age of 19 all the way up to the age of 30. I had 5 cancer scares. So they kept operating and cutting the cancer out, and it kept coming back. It wasn't until I decided to embrace working with the general public and helping human beings, helping humanity as much as I could, that it finally didn't come back again. But I'm not ready to disclose that part. But so that was keeping it at bay. So you can get sick on a physical level if you're not working your gifts. You're not using them for the greater good. But again, there's going to be some that are not going to adhere. There's going to be some that think you're crazy, that think you're schizophrenic because they think you hear things. And as a clairaudient, you do hear things sometimes. So it's like, okay, but it's a different hearing. It's not like, the government is out to get me. But speaking of the GOV, if you think as a light worker, and especially the title that is out right now, very, very much so, of a chosen one, if you think the GOV isn't watching the channels, isn't scanning for certain particular words and verbiage, you're wrong. You're sadly mistaken. Because people like us, even in the 70s, were being used for remote viewing. Never ever take my word for anything. Never ever take anybody's word for anything. Do your research. So I believe the CIA, as my mentor put it, may she rest in peace, she was part of it, and another gentleman that was part of our circle was also part of it, and other people. They were using them to see if it was real. And of course, it's been proven that yes, people can remote view. So yeah, we're different. But not everyone. Not everyone is going to like that you're different. Not everyone is going to accept that you're different, because motherfuckers, why can't you assimilate? You know, why can't you just get with the program? I've been different all my life, obviously, because I was born different. And I love what I am. I love who I am. But there is no guarantee that everybody you encounter in life as a human, having a human experience, is going to like you. As a matter of fact, you're going to have 2 different encounters of people, 2 groups of people. Either you're going to be very well loved or very much hated. And you don't even have to do anything. I'm going to repeat that. You don't have to do anything to these people to have them hate you. All you have to do is exist in the world. Exist in their airspace. And that's it. And that's enough for them to hate you. The darkness in them is very much disturbed by the light in you. And I'm going to say something because I want to clarify this for anybody that's listening. I am not fucking perfect. I am not fucking perfect. 3rd time, I'm not fucking perfect. Nor do I believe that I'm a perfect being. No. I came here to have a human experience. I came here to have a human experience, to see what it's like. Even Christ, Source, came down to have a human experience, to see what it's like when he was on his mission. This is not easy peasy lemon squeezy. It's not that kind of existence where you're just coming in and everything's hunky-dory. No. You have a lot of plights that the normal everyday man does not. And they have their own plights, but yours are always bigger and stronger that you have to get through. It's much like when I was in the military. I was a military cook. I wanted to go in as a mechanic because I scored really, really high. And one of my brothers talked me out of it. And I hate him for that. Because I love tinkering. As a matter of fact, I have a small engine repair certification. I used to work for Caterpillar in Seguin, Texas. And I was on the assembly line building motors. And so I love tinkering. I love the way things work. And so the same thing goes with this particular MOS. They don't mind that you're feeding them because they want to eat. Everybody wants to eat, right? As a human being, we all have to eat. That's our fuel to keep these bodies going. But there's a stigma attached to Army cooks, to cooks in general, in the military. That we're weak, that we're not real soldiers. So our cadre, when we were going through basic training and AIT, which is our schooling for our MOS, would force us to do PT at 4 o'clock in the morning and then PT again after all our studies and after working our MOS, our job. We'd have to do PT again in the evening. So in total per day, I would run about 4 miles and I would have to work out in the gym or calisthenics that they had us do PT. Because we couldn't be wishy-washy. We couldn't be half-ass soldiers, as they would call us. They would tell us, you're not going to be half-ass and you're representing, and they'll always look down on you because of your MOS and tell you that you're not a real soldier. So in order for us to prove them wrong, we're going to work you until the wheels fall off. And you're either going to be made or you're going to break. So that's the way it is. The life of a light worker, the life of a chosen one. We ain't come down here to eat ice cream all day long and have banana splits and go to the circus and enjoy the zoo and have picnics. I really wish that was the case. I love me some picnics. But it's just not like that. We do have glimpses of happiness. We do have glimpses of joy here and there. But the majority of us are alone. The majority of us are not paired up. I did a video on twin souls, on soulmates. Twin souls, excuse me, on twin flames. And the fact that they may not hear the calling, or they may not, wake up in time, right? Or in the worst case scenario, they're already paired up with a muggle. They're paired up with a muggle. And if they're paired up with a muggle, they may stay with that muggle. And then you end up by yourself. So that's another plight to the light worker journey, that you may end up alone. Or have a lot of broken relationships because it doesn't seem to fit. They don't seem to fit. So it is a hard journey. But if you think that the GOV doesn't watch channels and scan channels to see people like us, to see what we're talking about, oh, they do. Oh, they do. Because as Birdie used to retell, they would go to seminars, they would go to workshops, and those people were implanted into the audiences, and they go to the UFO conferences as well. That's a totally different subject that I won't touch here on this video, but we're watched. Even baby channels like mine will eventually get watched and scanned. So just know that they've got their eyes on us, and just be careful. Try to do what's right most of the time. We're having a human experience, so we're not going to be perfect. Anyway, this video is getting long. I just wanted to pop up here and let you know that even the people that pretend to admire you, or maybe they admire you temporarily, would turn on you. I had a friend for 15 years. For 15 years. And as a Metatronic practitioner, which is a higher frequency that I carry, I would give her those sessions, and she paid me for them, so I'm not sitting here complaining. But they were to boost her life, to get her to where she needed to be. So she went from having, I think she had, I don't know, I think she had a bachelor's. She went from having a bachelor's degree to having a PhD due to the energy I was able to provide her with. And then she turned on me. When I started going to school, because she made me feel some kind of way, she started telling me, yeah, it's not like you have a PhD. That's the other thing. Again, there's a lot of jealousy. There's a lot of envy. There's a lot of backbiting from people, even people that are close to you. So she started saying, it's not like you have a PhD or anything. And since I didn't have very much education at the time, it prompted me, because I felt it was something within me. I allowed my ego to be hurt. So I started going to school, and I went from being a medical assistant, a medical billing coder, got my associate's degree, and then I started towards my bachelor's. And when I had started towards my bachelor's, see, you don't understand how people really feel about you. She came up and said, well, do you really need it? Do you really need it? So make up your mind. I don't have a PhD. Do you really need it? So what it is once she became a PhD, she didn't want me catching up. I was behind her. I was catching up. What do you really need it? Suffice to say, I heard from another client that I've had for 12 years that this one was saying she's not special, there's nothing special about her, and I'm a seer too, and I can see. Hey, if you're a seer and you can see, more power to you. But then why do you have to learn something from me? Because you have to remember, true seers don't need to read books. Truly gifted people, you don't learn from a book. Anybody and their fucking uncle can read a book if they're book smart, ascertain how things go. Oh, the Ace of Cups, this is represented by Venus and blah, 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 blah. Why? Because they read a fucking book. I don't know if you noticed, I don't even mention half of the shit, because for me it's irrelevant. I'm picking up the energy, and that's all you need to know. If I happen to mention an astrological, element to it, so be it. But for the most part, I don't say any of those shits, because it's not important. What's important is what the message is. So she started saying crap like that. So I dropped her. I dropped her as a friend, but that wasn't even why I dropped her. The reason I decided to finally that it was the last straw was that she got angry, because people ask you questions, but they don't really want to know. People ask you questions, but don't necessarily want to know the answers. So I had already predicted that that Kamala Harris wasn't going to do anything. She was going to be a dud, that she was only put in there as a token person, and that the other one was going to have dementia. Oh, she was livid about that. That was back in 2020, because it was right before I left to Colorado. She was livid about that. Fast forward. Sorry. I'm sorry, Amona, but I was right on both accounts. And so people are not going to necessarily like you. I don't care what they say. Oh, we love you. Oh, we're so happy you have this gift, and the gift has helped us a lot, which it does help a lot of people. But that doesn't mean they're going to like you for having the gift in the end. So you will be loved sometimes, and sometimes you'll be hated, frankly speaking. You're going to be resented. You will be envied, which there's nothing to envy. Most of us can tell you there is nothing to envy, because it's a fucking hard life that we live. It's not a walk in the park. It's not a fucking picnic. And we chose the hardest lesson that we could have chosen in coming here. The energy is dense. You never feel light. You never feel a lightness of being. For that, you have to meditate an awful lot, and a lot of you don't know how to meditate or don't like it. As I mentioned in another video, well, actually, no, I deleted the video. But it's hard to want to stay here because it's so heavy. But yeah, you won't be liked. Not everybody's going to like you. And those that like you are either going to stay with you, like my lovely friend who's a fellow Libra. We've known each other for 18 years. Or my best friend that died in 2020. She was my best friend for 15 years. Other than that, people will walk away from you. People will abandon you. I'm sorry. But I'm here to tell you the truth, the good, the bad, and the ugly. If you happen to have a soul tribe that God allowed you to have, a beautiful family you were born into, a beautiful husband or wife or significant other, spiritual marriage, count yourself lucky, because not all these light workers out here are married or attached together. You have to think about it. And then, especially if you decide to be a reader on YouTube, do you know how much time that takes out of your life? And I only do one. When I first started 4 years ago, and then it didn't work out for me, I was doing all 12 zodiacs. Do you know how much time and energy from your chi, from your prana, that takes to do? And to do it well. Not just to do it, but do it well. Have you noticed that the majority of them, they're not wearing wedding rings? And they're always on. So if they're always on YouTube, when do you have time to have a family? When do you have time to have a husband or wife? I can guarantee you the majority of them are solo dolos like me. So it's a lonely life. It's beautiful on the one hand that God would have chosen you to bestow these gifts to. But on the other hand, it's a double-edged sword, because you literally have to deal with being alone a lot. With being separated almost from society a lot. Now, don't get me wrong. In my younger years, all the way to, I think I was, 50, I had friends galore. Then all of a sudden, I had no friends. No friend. I have one friend. And I'm talking about friends. I'm not talking about acquaintances. I'm talking about a true blue friend. I have one. And sometimes, since 2020, I've been put aside by God. And so Hasn't been a time to go out and party. Hasn't been a time to even go to the movies with anyone. I went to the movies once when I was in New Hampshire, but that was more like it just happened. It wasn't like the lady and I formed a huge relationship and we depended on each other for companionship or anything. It wasn't like that. It's not been that way since 2020. So sometimes God will put you aside from other people and you'll feel lonely, you'll feel depressed because you don't understand. There's a cutting away, there's a pruning that's happening in your life. And God doesn't necessarily want you amongst all the other people because you're going through a lesson. And if you're not listening or you can't hear what that lesson is, you're just going to feel like you're being punished. So the light worker, the chosen ones, go through a lot. It takes a lot to be a light worker. It's not easy. Look at David Palmer, the Leo King. In my opinion, his astrology is badass. He not only gives you the astrology, but then he ties it together with history. He ties it together and talks about history and how it all affects. And he was the first one online that I know of, because now all of them are saying it, but he was the first one online. The Leo King, David Palmer, was the first one online connecting the dots with the astrology and World War, I think it's II that he was mentioning. I can't remember if it was World War I, but I believe it was World War II. And how the planets are all aligned again in the same way. So unfortunately, that's why there's so many people that are experiencing anger, anxiety, suicide, mental health issues galore, and that's why nations are fighting. That's why, because of the planetary alignments. So all of that also affects you as a light worker and as a human being. All of that, you know. So you have to stop and think about that. You are being hit left and right. If you're an empath like I am, you can't watch the TV all the time. You can't watch the news all the time. Listen to it to stay abreast of situations. You must have knowledge of the world around you. But don't be watching it to the point of overkill, because then that makes you sick, because you're an empath. So you're taking all of that in, all that fear that people are feeling, all the anger and violence people are expressing, all of that. Even with all the colleges that were doing their BS, those people that are so uninformed, being fed by people that are modern day radical terrorists. And you have to stay out of all of that. Being a chosen one, being a light worker, you have to remain in balance. And then if you're a Libra, holy shit. So if you're a Libra and you're a light worker and you're an empath like me, do you know how hard it is? It's like an airplane flying in turbulence, severe turbulence. You constantly have to be aware of all the things that you're feeling, expressing, because you're not only feeling it, now you want to talk about it. Now people come around and piss you off, and you express it, and you give fire. You return it with fire. Because you're a mirror. You are a mirror. I'm in a parking lot. It's not easy being a light worker. It is not easy being a chosen one. So anybody that envies you, anybody that resents you because they don't have the gifts you have, I only have two things to say about that. You have never walked a mile in my shoes. You don't know what it's like to watch people with their families. To watch people with their families be happy. To enjoy picnics. To enjoy time out. To enjoy this, that, and the other. And all I have in my brain is humanity and my mission and how I'm supposed to go about doing that, so that when I meet my creator, I can go and give a report and details and say, okay, I did my best. Did I pass? Did I graduate? Did I get things done that you wanted me to get done for your people? While everybody else is doing their thing, planning a baseball game, planning, whatever, family outings, barbecues, etc. Your life is not necessarily like that. You're going to have some of that, but it's not an everyday occasion unless you're with your twin soul. If you're with your twin flame, then you can have some of that, and you can also have some of your mission. But if not, an everyday occasion is about the mission. Okay? So don't be, so gung-ho about, oh, I didn't get this. First and foremost, if God wanted you to have those gifts, God would have given them to you. But then again, they come along with a shit ton of responsibilities. A shit ton of responsibilities, because you're not just here to just, like I always say, eat bonbons, sun out, and get your suntan and your whatever. And then when God puts you to the side and takes a bunch of people out of your life because they see themselves out of your life by their actions, that you need to just step back and just let him do it, because he knows why he's doing it. Even the people you love, even if you're in love with someone and God decides to take that person from your life, again, you're right now in this season, at this time, we're being pruned. We're being pruned because the age of Aquarius is looming over us, trying to take root. And as that is happening, we also, since we're not perfect beings in this life, in this human form, we also have to have pruning. So a lot of beautiful things will come in the coming years. A lot of beautiful things will occur. But until then, we're being pruned. Humans are being pruned. Your intellect, your wisdom is being pruned. So you can do it one or two ways, light workers, chosen ones. You can go with the flow, like when you're in the river and you're on a float or in a boat. You can go with the flow so that when you paddle, you're getting somewhere, or you can go against the tide, and it's gonna be a hard journey. I stopped trying to steer with the oars. I stopped trying to steer in the opposite direction, because the opposite direction is where I thought and I saw my life going. And now I'm not even steering. I'm just in the boat. And I'm letting him steer. And it fucking has hurt. It's been like a constant spanking from Dad. But it's going to be worth it in the end. I guarantee it. But yeah, it's hard being a light worker. So those of you that are jealous and resentful against us because you don't have the gifts, guess what? Careful what you ask for. Because I know that in this lifetime, I bit off a lot more than I thought I could chew. I'm learning, just like everyone else, day to day, how to handle being a light worker in this life. Because, let's face it, people are not very nice. And then, they've only gotten more mean and more ornery. Social graces are little to none. Little to none. So, be the example in the world that you want to see. And maybe sooner or later, your light will rub off on everyone out there, and we'll start seeing humanity in a nicer light again. They're mean, they're ornery, they're spoiled, they're contemptuous, but you know what? We're here for them. we're here for them. And this is a beautiful time to be here as a light worker, because we don't need people pressing the red button, right? We need to learn to work with each other and see each other in different facets, male or female, as father, as grandfather, mother as grandmother, as daughter, as son. That's the way you need to look at humanity. And it used to be the saying of it takes a village, and now you can't tell people anything because they'll snap at you. So do it as kindly as you can, if time is given, if the occasion arises. But other than that, just beam your light out into the world, because more than ever it needs us right now to be strong, to be balanced, and that's the only way that we can shine and be a beacon of love, because that's what you have to admit, even when people mistreat you. I'm not saying you have to like it. I'm not saying you have to stay with them, but you still have to find a way to allow the healing to occur in your heart chakra. Learn from the lesson and keep going so you can shine that light. Because if you don't, just like they're broken, just like they're damaged, just like they're mean, ugly, rude, crude, and dark, and have a cold heart, you will turn into that with bitterness. Don't allow that. Release, let go, and shine, baby, shine. Shine bright, brighter than any diamond or crystal could, because you have the light of Christ inside of you. You have the biggest love that you will ever need inside of you. And that's why we can give love and shine brightly outwardly into the world. We're not perfect. We were just perfectly made by Christ, by our God, our Creator. Much love and light to you, Victoria Violet. Until we meet again, my friends, my family. Peace be with you.